so I'm going to go ahead and go. Okay, so how many of you have children? Well, I know that you two don't, but most of us do, and we find that as new parents or even experienced parents, we have to have a break in once in a while. You don't get much sleep. You know, they stay up all night with your kids, they cry, babies don't want to sleep that much. So especially when you have a big house, you have to get up and walk to the other room with the nursery to go get the baby at 2 in the morning, so you're like really dragging. You're not running on much but fumes. So the option that most parents choose to take, especially if you're breastfeeding, is to bring the baby into the room with you and into your bed. So put the baby, you guys finally go to sleep, and then in the morning you roll over and you're like, oh, great, I got some sleep. And then you realize your baby wasn't sleeping all night, he was actually dead. So my talk is on about what's called SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. And basically I'm going to talk about what it is, what are the risk factors, and what are the recommendations to reduce the risk factors so that you don't have this issue happen and you don't wake up with a dead baby in your bed. So basically SIDS is sudden infant death syndrome, or sudden unexplained infant death syndrome. It's the leading cause of death in babies from ages a month to a year, and it can claim the lives of approximately about 2,500 babies each year die from SIDS. It's unpredictable. Many people have done research to find out what causes it. They don't know the exact cause of it, why babies could just die in their sleep. But we found that we can reduce the odds. We can reduce these risks through research and through studies of the babies that have passed away. So now that I've told you about SIDS, I'm going to tell you about the risk factors that we found that help, could cause SIDS. There's risk factors of, when you put your baby, they found when you put your baby on the stomach, when they put their face in the sheet, it decreases the oxygen levels, so it increases carbon dioxide, which basically can put you to sleep into a deep sleep. It also puts pressure on their jaw, so it closes the airway and hampers their breathing. If you have certain race issues, have a higher incidence of SIDS, like African Americans, they're twice as likely. Native Americans are 3 times as likely to have babies die in their sleep, and it actually happens to more male babies than female babies, which I guess males don't tend to sleep as well, and they stop breathing, period. Seasonal can indicate a time of incidence when it's increased. Colder weather, because of course parents think that their babies are really, really cold, so they tend to overwrap them and overheat them, and overheating can actually stop the baby from breathing. And poor prenatal care. If you have, you don't go to the doctor often every month to make, checkups with your baby. If you smoke, if you drink alcohol, and drug use is a big factor for SIDS. So all those risks can increase you having a chance of a baby dying of SIDS. So since you know the risk factors, what can we do to prevent them? Well, research has shown that if you place your baby back to sleep, it helps. They can wake themselves up. They don't put into a deep sleep as well. So the American Academy of Pediatrics developed a program called Back to Sleep in 1994. And since this program was implemented, SIDS is reduced by 50% all over the country. So basically they've been finding that when you do certain things, like put your baby on their backs to sleep instead of their stomach, don't sleep with your baby in the same bed, and you have a safe sleep environment, these recommendations have increased the actual cost, or the actual babies of not dying, that they've been actually waking up in their sleep and doing that. So the recommendations that they said, again, is don't place your baby on their stomach, put them on their back to sleep, hence the name Back to Sleep program. Don't co-bed, which means don't sleep in the same bed with your baby, because when you're sleep deprived, you tend to fall in a deep, deep sleep. You can roll over and suffocate your baby really, really easy. Create a safe sleep environment. So you want to have a firm mattress in the crib, no waterbed mattresses, and don't laugh, people have actually done that. No pillows or toys, no bumper pads, because babies have been found to catch their heads between the bumper pads and the actual rail of the crib and have suffocated. You don't want to overdress your baby. Overheating tends to make the baby stop breathing. You want to make sure your baby's vaccinated and keeping up to date with those. Using a pacifier at night, the babies suck the pacifier to where they don't fall in such a deep sleep that they can actually wake themselves up. And of course, don't smoke and use drugs, because that's not something you want to do when you have a child in the house anyways. A common myth about SIDS is that choking, babies can maintain their airways on their back. So parents are afraid to put them on their back to sleep because they think, oh no, if he chokes and he spits up and he vomits, then the baby's not going to be able to breathe. Well, that's not true. Babies can actually maintain their own airway on their back, and babies have been known to actually turn their heads and vomit and then use their tongue to spit it out. So they can maintain their own airway. If you place your baby, my grandmother always told me, put them on the side. You have to put them on their side. Well, if you put babies on their side to sleep, they can actually roll over onto their stomach, which hence is not good either. And then some parents, you know, they're perfectionists. They don't want their babies to have a flat head. They say if they put the baby on the back, the baby's gonna have a flat head in the back and it's not gonna look pretty. Well, babies move their heads in their sleep just like we do. So they're not gonna have a flat head. And if they constantly move their heads, the head's gonna stay in the same shape. And later on down the road, when they can roll over on their own, then you don't have to worry about their heads being in one position 24 hours a day. So with all these myths and all these risks and the increase in research that's been done, they found out that, you know, doing all these things and not doing all these things have helped their sleep anymore. So to conclude this, my speech, parents need to follow the recommendations of the Back to Sleep program. And they can sleep easier at night knowing that they got educated with this, they know what it is, and they know the practice to practice these safe sleep habits for their baby. And when you're educated on the bad things about SIDS and sudden infant death syndrome, parents aren't going to ask questions in the future, well, maybe I should have done this, or maybe I shouldn't have done that. And this way, when you're educated about something, you know in advance, okay, I can't do that because this is a risk and I don't want to take that risk. So basically, that's my conclusion, and that's my sudden infant death syndrome.
I'm a certified interventionist around February